Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 30-day build challenge with me, Nisi. Today is day 24, and we're going to be building another townhouse, but I want to try something very different this time. Well, maybe very strong word, but this townhouse here behind us looks a little bit luxurious, doesn't it? It's got a lot of fancy colors. Yep, it looks kind of rich. It looks like it's in a good part of town. I want to try doing something very similar, but in the bad part of town. A little bit more rundown, a little bit more chill version of this, and I have a really interesting color scheme here picked out. I think I've realized that I don't work with acacia much, so I'm going to try to work it into the build. No idea where we're going to put this. I guess we can just put it like opposite the townhouse. But yeah, we got this nice kind of color scheme. I'm going to lay out some blocks here for you. Let me know what you guys think of it. It's interesting for sure, right? I feel like the acacia works with the dark prismarine, and then the dark prismarine works well with the rest of these grey blocks. So perhaps it's not the most rundown looking color palette, but I really want to play with shape and detailing to kind of make this look a little bit more of a simple version, I guess, of a townhouse. A little bit less grand, a little bit more on the plain side, but we're still going to be using some fun colors and blocks. So let's see if I can do this. Let's start off with a general shape of the build. Here we go. I have a little bit of an interesting shape here, I think. I've gone for this sort of angular roof that's offset, and then a chimney on a side, hopefully, if I can make this work. And then we're going to go with some asymmetrical windows slash sort of terraces here. Not quite sure yet exactly what these are going to be. Yeah, I can definitely change the blocks I'm using here. This is probably going to need to be thin blocks like trapdoors or something. And I've gone for sort of a 2-floor setup here because you guys know me, you know I love myself some outside stairs, so I had to bring that into the build here as well. It feels very townhousey, especially if you think of this ground floor as being owned by somebody else than a top floor. It's kind of like your standard apartment setup almost, so I'm curious to see if I can make this work. Now I'm trying to decide what I'm going to use the acacia for, and I think it might be my accent color here for the trimmings, like the windows, like the window sills and the door and stuff. So probably gonna need to do something like this. I do like the location of the prismarine stairs. I'm just wondering whether I also need to make the roof prismarine, maybe. Or is that going to be too much? Is that going to take away from the prismarine? Maybe I need to bring in another color altogether. I'm not sure. And I'm actually going to build the sides as well, just to ensure I don't end up with another facade. With another facade build for the townhouse, it really shouldn't be a facade. This is a fairly small one. So let's actually block out the rest of the shape here like this. I've decided to start off with the stairs, and I've kind of gone a little bit overboard maybe here with the texturing. I don't really know how I feel about a lot what's going on here just now. I tried to add a lot of these little nooks and crannies and buttons and stuff to kind of give an impression of a more rundown place, even though we have all these bright colors, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's giving block vomit. I feel like the railings are the issue. It doesn't really read like a railing. There's just more blocks. Yep, get rid of all these blocks. That's totally what I meant to do. The iron bars might work because we do have a little bit of that grey we're working up towards here for the main building. So this could help. I don't know if I need these trapdoors either. Okay, that reads a little bit more like a railing. Do I need the tough walls, or do I just go in straight for the stairs? Or if I go straight with the bars? I think I very slightly prefer that. It's still a lot though. Maybe I want, instead of the copper here, maybe I do want just a solid line of dark prismarine stairs as well. Okay, and maybe these ones should be the tough ones instead. Let's grab ourselves a tough stair. Let's try bricks, let's try polish, let's try normal, see what it looks like. That's not the right thing. Okay. Okay, that reads a little bit more like rails. Still not loving it though. I'm undecided, but I do think the levers are an interesting idea here. It does kind of look like it's holding up the railing, at least a little bit. So I'm going to leave it for now and work on the rest of the build and then see what I feel like after. Because right now this is a lot. I'm going absolutely crazy with this build. In many ways, it's driving me insane. I feel like the build is insane. There's so much going on, but I feel like I'm growing as a builder, which is at least something. Honestly, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. Does this look good? The only thing I feel right now is that it's very heavily focused on the left side here. So we should bring something in here to the right just to give it a little bit more of a balance. But I don't want to add like another terrace or veranda or something. Almost like a different building would go here, but I'm looking at a reference picture and I'm looking at reference pictures of various sort of townhouses. And some people have done like clotheslines, which I love the idea of, or maybe an electricity pole or something that's not a building but is connected to the side of the building. So I think I'm gonna try for that. Let's see, let's pop it around. Make sure it's in the center-ish area. I have no idea where the center of this build is, but this will do. This will do. Let's bring this up a bit. Okay, maybe let's grab these iron bars again. Oh, yep, that's not connecting. That's fine. We'll figure something out. Maybe going fully straight is a little bit boring. I think I'm gonna try to make it more like an electricity pole than anything else. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't connect to anything just now, so let me build up this wall real quickly. And speaking of walls, I have been working on the colors here. I decided to add in this light grey wool instead of ending my gradient at andesite, and I think that helps. We go from this really dark tone, there's even some deep slate there at the bottom, and we work our way upwards to a slightly lighter color. I think I do like that, and here's my sort of chimney, which is not looking like a chimney much anymore. I almost wish I had like a wall here instead of a fence. Is there any walls that are similar in color? Resin? Brick? Red sandstone? Oh, that's very bright. Oh, that could... Okay, the brick could maybe work. Let's add a little bit of brick in here. Switch it up. Ooh, I don't know. Actually, it's a lot. It's a lot. The white, it almost blends in too well with the light grey wool here. Orange sandstone, also not the best. Maybe no walls. Maybe we mix and match the walls. I have no idea. I'm gonna need to work on the detailing here, but something's happening. Something is happening in this area. Anyways, let's go back to building the wall here. So I'm just gonna add some blocks in. Okay, let's see. Let's just swap this out for deep cracked. Grab our wall. We'll make a little bit of a mirror design. Okay. That kind of works. I actually don't like the iron bars, but I like something being there. What is a good thing to use here to create some sort of like a cable? Do you ever get so preoccupied with whether you can, you don't stop and think whether you should? Oh man. Look at this monstrosity of a thing. Okay. It's something. I have very mixed opinions on this build of mine, to be honest, and I think it's because it doesn't feel like my style of building. I was trying something new, but I think I might have tried new too much. A little bit too much. And now, to be completely honest, I'm not satisfied with how much this looks like my reference photo, which I will link in the description because yeah, I ended up basically straight up copying it, which was not my intention. I was trying to change things quite a lot as I built, but I just couldn't make it work. And no, nothing better than the original, really, ever. This is just a poor imitation. So the original is by, I think, Levis Poppy. I don't know how to say the person's name, but they did an amazing job, and I will link it in the description. And I'm a little bit disappointed with myself at how this has turned out because, yeah, I do feel like it's a bit of a straight up copy, but let's take a look at the details I do like. So what I added here since the last update is I felt like we needed something here on the right, so I added two. I added a little clothesline thing from my reference photo, but I also added a section of the build here, give it a little bit more of a unique shape. So now as you come in here downstairs, by the way, none of the inside's done, but if we were to pretend this is a real building, you know, you have the ground floor section here this way, a little bit of usable space. And then you also have the upstairs here, which we can go up like so. Mm-hmm. Nothing here either, but you could maybe imagine there's some sort of a living space in here. And out here, I have almost kind of like an abandoned rooftop garden. I don't know, quite often I see in big cities, in fact, in any city really, is that you have a lot of grass and sort of foliage of any sort growing on roof, just in the gutters or wherever the wind has swept up some dirt. And life just, life finds a way. There's a lot of Jurassic Park references for some reason. I wasn't even planning that one. But yeah, life finds a way, and so things start to get overgrown. And this is basically my take on that concept, which I do think looks pretty cool here as a roof. I I didn't want to do a second one of these, so this looks pretty nice. It brings a little bit of life to the build. Give it and then speaking of life, look at all these leaf litter blocks. I have gone a little bit crazy. I've missed a spot here. Wait, nope, not like that. Nope, nope, oh god. I'm not the best at placing these things yet. There we go. I've tried to kind of scatter it on almost of a natural way where it would group up in the corners. And it takes a little bit of time to get that done, but it does work. I added a chain here for almost like a drain gutter, I guess. Kind of works, kind of doesn't. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but we do have a cauldron here. In fact, let's grab ourselves a water bucket. Does this give it a bit more life? A clogged drain of some sort? I don't know. I'm just gonna leave that there for now though. And yeah, I did actually build up the walls on every side. I didn't add windows everywhere else because I don't have time for that today, to be quite honest, but I think it still looks pretty good. What other details are like? These windows, experimenting with signs on trapdoors is a very cool look. A little bit of fences, I'm trying to use all these things I don't normally use in builds, like buttons and lighting rods and iron bars or fence gates, a lot of signs. This is all kind of new to me, but I think it's worked, and I'm quite happy with the gradients and textures here on the actual building. And over here, I brought back in the levers for the rails, just, make it a little bit more cohesive with over here. Again, many things I don't normally do in builds. That's why I think this feels to me a little bit like it's not my build. A little bit too much like my reference photo, but it is what it is, guys. I have learned a lot actually building this. It's not the sort of shape I would normally go to. I had to think about my balance and, what this means if we have a lot of stuff here going on at the bottom, but the top was feeling empty. But then we have this sort of heavier kind of roof with a quite a thick solid shape here. No texture on the roof because it was a little bit too much with a strong shape, plus all the texturing up here. Again, buttons, glow lichens, it's something. Actually, my only gripe with this thing is kind of the windows. Not the actual window design, but I feel like it's kind of hard to tell from the outside that you're looking through a window. So what I might do is just create a little bit of a fake wall here, a couple blocks out, to make it look a little bit more like you're seeing the inside of the house, because when you can just see grey through grey through grey, it kind of looks a little bit odd. Let's see if this if this makes the windows look slightly better. A little bit, not much. It's hard to tell what to do with these things. I'm just gonna get rid of this real quick. But yeah, I think I'm done working on this thing for now, at least. So let me know what you like or what you don't like about it. Another color scheme is kind of out there. It's definitely new to me. Acacia is not a block I use often. So yeah, again, adding to the list of things that don't make it feel like an easy build. Acacia, the shapes, the design choices, everything. But I pushed myself. So I hope you guys like the build and let me know what I could improve on if there's anything here that you think is really ugly, because there probably is at least a couple things here that need changed, and I would like to know. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!